When I overheard my daughter Rebecca telling my son Michael that I was too old to handle money anymore, something inside me went very, very still. They were standing in my living room, speaking in the tone people use when they think the person they're discussing can't hear them. I was upstairs sorting old photographs, my late husband's, my children's mine from the courtroom days. I hadn't practiced law in over a decade, but 32 years as a defense attorney leaves its mark. I can recognize deceit the way a bloodhound recognizes scent. Honestly, Mike, Rebecca said, she's slipping. The other day she couldn't even remember where she kept her will. My heart clenched. The will was in the same fireproof safe it had been in for 20 years. Michael sighed. Maybe we should help her with her finances. It's not about control, Becky. It's about protecting her. Protecting me. That word, more than any other, made my stomach turn. I had seen it used in too many court cases, as justification, as manipulation, as weapon. That night, I made my decision. I was going to let them think they were smarter than me, and then, one by one, I would destroy their entire scheme. The setup, the next morning, I shuffled downstairs in my robe, hair unbrushed, slippers mismatched. Rebecca greeted me with a sugary smile that would have fooled anyone who hadn't spent their life deconstructing false witnesses. "Good morning, Mom. How are you feeling today?" "Forgetful," I said softly, stirring my coffee without sugar. "What day is it again?" Her eyes glittered. I could almost hear her thinking, perfect. By afternoon, I'd already found her first mistake. She'd logged into my online banking on her phone and forgotten to close the session. The last transfer out of my account was marked Assisted Living Deposit. I wasn't going anywhere. The doctor, 2 weeks later. Rebecca announced she'd booked me an appointment with a specialist. "Dr. Raymond Holt," she said, beaming. "He helps families assess mental capacity, very gentle, very understanding." I smiled. "That sounds lovely, dear." That night, I ran his name. 3 disciplinary actions. 2 lawsuits for falsified psychiatric assessments. 1 quiet settlement involving the transfer of elderly assets under dubious guardianship. A pattern. By the time the appointment arrived, I was ready. Dr. Holt's office looked respectable. Muted colors, soft lighting, the whole stage set. He asked the same predictable questions. "What year is it? Who's the president? Can you count backward from 100 by 7s? When I gave every correct answer, he smirked slightly, as if my clarity inconvenienced him. Rebecca leaned forward, concerned. Sometimes she forgets things later in the day. I almost laughed. The 2 of them were so clumsy. "Doctor," I said sweetly, "would you like me to draft my own power of attorney right now? I used to write them professionally." He blinked. "You're a lawyer?" "Retired," I said, meeting his eyes. "But not so retired that I don't recognize medical fraud when I see it." Rebecca paled. "Mom, please." I waved her off gently. "It's all right, dear. I'm sure Dr. Holt keeps impeccable records." That was when I noticed the small camera blinking in his desk drawer, recording without patient consent. I smiled, knowing the evidence would serve me later. The trap that evening, I called the one man I still trusted, James Ellery, my old partner from Ellery and Harlan Law. He answered on the second ring. "Eleanor? Good God, I haven't heard your voice in years." "I need your help, James. My children are attempting to declare me incompetent." There was a silence. Then, "I'll come by tomorrow." "Don't sign anything." By the time James arrived, I'd already gathered 3 folders of evidence, bank records, Rebecca's emails, thank you, shared Wi-Fi, and screenshots from Dr. Holt's disciplinary files. James flipped through the pages, whistling softly. "You've built a stronger case than most private investigators could. Are you planning to report this?" "Not yet," I said. "I want them to show their full hand first." Phase 2, pretending to fall apart. For the next 2 weeks, I put on a performance worthy of Broadway. I forgot conversations. I misplaced my keys. I accidentally called my grandson by the dog's name. Rebecca documented everything in a little blue notebook, thinking she was gathering evidence. I made sure she found me writing in my own journal too, except mine was a record of her every manipulation, complete with timestamps. When she went through my mail one afternoon, I watched from the reflection in the window. She didn't realize that every envelope she opened had a minuscule piece of tape under the flap. My silent alarm system. 3 opened envelopes. 3 strikes. The breaking point, the turning point came when Rebecca made me tea one afternoon. She hovered while I drank it, smiling too sweetly. My throat began to burn almost instantly. Not poison, too obvious, but something sedative. Something meant to make me appear disoriented. I excused myself, spat it into the sink upstairs, and kept the cup. Later, James had it tested. Diphenhydramine in dangerously high doses, enough to make any elderly woman seem confused. The following week, Rebecca tried to push the conservatorship hearing forward. "Mom's declining faster than we expected," she told Michael on the phone. I recorded everything. The reveal 3 weeks later, I invited them both to a family dinner. "I've decided to sign the papers," I said calmly over the phone. Rebecca couldn't hide her excitement. When they arrived, the dining room was beautifully set. Candles, silver, the good china. Michael seemed nervous. Rebecca glowed. "Before I sign anything," I said, "I'd like to say a few words." I reached into a folder beside my plate and placed it on the table. Inside were printed emails, Dr. Holt's disciplinary files, the lab report from the sedative in my tea, and my notarized statement of full mental competency from Yale New Haven Hospital. Rebecca went pale. Michael frowned, confused. "Rebecca," I said softly, "you've spent months trying to convince your brother I'm senile. You've accessed my accounts illegally, forged my signature, and paid a suspended psychiatrist to declare me incompetent. Did you really think I wouldn't notice?" Michael turned to her, horrified. "Becky, is that true?" she stammered. "Mom's confused. She's lying." James Ellery stepped from the adjoining room, followed by 2 detectives from the Connecticut Financial Crimes Division. "She's not lying," James said, "and we have enough evidence to prove it." The aftermath: Rebecca was arrested that night for attempted financial exploitation, fraud, and attempted poisoning. Dr. Holt lost his medical license permanently. Michael, broken and ashamed, came to me weeks later. "Mom, I don't know how to fix this." "You start," I told him, "by never letting guilt make you blind again. Love and ignorance are a dangerous combination." Epilogue. The second act, 18 months later. I opened the Harlan Ellery Sr. Justice Foundation, a pro bono legal service for elderly victims of family exploitation. Our first client was a retired teacher whose niece had tried to sell her house without her consent. Our 10th was a widower whose son drained his savings through online scams. Every case reminded me why I'd fought back. Getting older doesn't mean losing power. It means gaining perspective. People like Rebecca mistake quietness for weakness. They forget that wisdom doesn't fade with age. It sharpens, and sometimes all it takes to win is the patience to let your enemies think they're winning first.